Is it going? Oh, yeah. Hello. Welcome to my little gray corner of boredom. So, this is a YouTube video. Wow. And this is currently called Modern Psychology Hacks. The title may change, but for now, we will go with that. I guess this is, in summary, this is tips and tricks that you can use to use psychology to make good habits feel effortless and automatic, and bad habits harder to do. And we can do that by rewiring our brains. Essentially, I have been in love with this topic for the last 3 years. I've read a few books on it, a little bit of research, and I'm not an expert, but I do have a few things that have worked for me, and I think that they can work for anyone that's watching too. So basically, I've been kind of putting this together, and I am doing it partially because I think the best way to learn is to teach. So well, hopefully it works. I think that also me being 21 years old and in college, and I have attention deficit disorder, it is diagnosed. I think that what I'm saying actually works, especially if you want to increase your focus. Essentially, 3 years ago, I was a freshman in college and I was 18 years old. And my life looked completely different from what it looks like now. I pretty much spent every single day playing Minecraft as much as I possibly could. I mean, it was 9 to 12 hours a day, most days, unless I got really behind on homework, but I just stayed in my dorm and I did that. And I would go to class if I had to. I would wait until the last minute until my homework was due the next day. My homework was due like once a week, and I would wait till the day before and stay up all night and do my homework all night the night before. It was completely unnecessary, but I couldn't do it unless I felt like I absolutely had to. On top of that, I don't know, but I think I woke up and immediately got on my phone every single day, walked to class on my phone, sat in class on my phone, was on my phone on the way back, listening to music, doing whatever at all times. I'm sure my screen time was like 11 hours a day, and I was pretty much just doing that as well in my free time. So I went through a whole semester like that. And then around Christmas time, I was sitting in my grandparents' house after Christmas, and I was doing what I was always doing, which was scrolling on my phone on Instagram, looking at memes. And I remember that I was by myself in the side room, and my family was all together playing with their Christmas presents, and I was off to the side on my phone. And ironically, a meme or reel, I guess, came up that said something along the lines of, "Look at me. I'm some sort of macho influencer. I have my own brand. I have my own fashion trends. I have six figures. I'm all of this stuff, aesthetic, body type, cardio person." Anyways, he said, "I'm the best version of myself." And that really stuck with me. And then he said, "And I'm 16 years old." And that really stuck with me because I was 18 years old and I didn't have any of that. So I started thinking about that. I was sitting there like, hey, I'm offended. And why am I not like that? Why? I don't have any of these things. Why don't I have these things? And it started to be, what do I need to do to be the kind of person that does these things? And I decided that it wasn't exactly New Year's, but it was almost New Year's. So I would make it my goal to be as best as I could. The best version of myself is what I told myself. And I think that's great. But I tried it and I failed immediately, actually. I had one day of a lot of motivation and the second day of not so much motivation. And then the third day it was all over. So then I tried again and I failed again. And I tried again and I failed again, over and over and over. And eventually I had tried to lock in and become the best version of myself, but I couldn't. And I started to think that there was something wrong with me. I mean, that's the only thing that made sense, was someone that says they're going to do something. I promised myself I was going to be better, and I couldn't. I kept sliding back into old habits. And I went through the whole month of January, and by February, I was almost completely hopeless. But fast forward to 3 years later, here we are, and I feel like I am still a long way away from my goals. I am still very, very, very far away from perfect and far from the best version of myself. But I feel like I do have hope. And I feel it this way because I worked on it and I got on track to potentially figure out the steps that it takes to be able to control yourself better and build discipline. I wish I would have known how simple rewiring your brain actually can be. Sorry, my iCloud storage ran out. Anyways, as I was saying, I don't remember where I was, actually. Let me go back. Most people don't change when they feel like they are uncomfortable. They change when it's absolutely necessary and they're backed into a corner. Please don't let this be you. You don't have to wait to hit rock bottom to lock in. You don't need to go through a breakup or enter a new year to start doing the things that you know you need to be doing. My storage ran out again. It's literally the first video. Also, which camera should I be looking at? All right, every video in this series, I'm gonna try to start it off with a quote that I found helpful to me. This one comes from Atomic Habits, written by James Clear. And it says, it says, far too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. Success is the product of daily habits, not a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. So essentially, the longer you've been stuck in a rut, the harder it is to be able to get out. The first step is accepting where you're at and not just telling yourself it's okay and you can keep going. The reality is that your mental landscape probably looks more like a battlefield than a scenic destination. I was going about it the wrong way though too. I was putting all of my effort in the wrong place. I was telling myself I just needed to try harder. What I didn't realize is that in order to change your habits permanently, you have to change your brain permanently, and you have to change the way that you think about yourself. So the brain is designed to avoid unnecessary effort. That's why that change is so much harder, especially because when we're trying to change, our brain knows pathways that are easier. Dr. Joe Dispenza wrote the book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He says that about 95% of who we are by midlife is caused by a set of unconscious habits and emotional reactions. Here's the real situation that all of us are living in right now. The situation is that we are all living in a country where we are put up against essentially the best scientists, data analysts, and human behavior experts that are trying to steal our attention from us. This is an entire society that has been built off of entertainment, and the developers of certain apps have found every little detail that can be learned about the human mind, and they are going to exploit it in order to keep you addicted to your phone so that your attention can feed their monetary profit. That's the situation. So the same thing has been happening similar with fast food in America a few years ago. We kind of seem to know about it now and know that you're not supposed to eat a whole bunch of fast food. But when it started happening, food became engineered to be as tempting as possible and as convenient as possible. And these fast food companies did that on purpose so that they could sell a bunch of fast food. However, they didn't consider the societal impact of health on the American public. So I'm giving you that example because it's similar to the example that we're talking about here with your attention span. The biggest problem with both of these things is everyone knows what's going on and we don't care. Most of our daily behaviors aren't triggered by our conscious. They're triggered by our subconscious when our environment triggers us and we go into a memorized habit. Humans are basically running on memorized programs, and we do it all the time. We just trust that that's how things are going to be. The fact that you're making any progress in this area is remarkable. Like the fact that you're here, and if you're still listening to this video, I salute you, I honor you, everything. But the situation is that it should be statistically almost impossible to break away from some of these modern addictions. And I believe that we are some of the last people in our generation that are going to have a fighting chance to stop this. I really believe that. So, anyways, we're all fighting a giant overstimulation of modern tech addiction, right? I'm going to try to keep this series applicable. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I can try an exercise that relates to this. All right, stop and think for a second. If you had an extra year right now, what would you do with it? Starting now, you don't have to work, you don't have to make money, you just get to have a whole year all to yourself. All right, so let's break it down into days. You have 24 hours a day, and 8 of those are supposed to be spent sleeping. Did you know that the average amount of screen time for Americans is 8 hours a day? It's pretty bad. And that's another 2/3 of your day gone, because 8 hours for sleeping and then 8 hours, which is half of your waking life, spent on your phone. Since it's half of your waking life, that's 2 weeks a month or 6 months a year that you are spending on your phone, if you are average. So the actionable step that we're going to have for this video, which is going to wrap us up because it's already going on so long, is I want you to get out your notes app, and you should title it something like psych hacks or something so that you can find it, because I am assuming you're probably going to watch this video series once, and it might as well behoove you to take some notes, because what else are you going to be doing when you're listening to my voice? Obviously, you want to know everything I have to say. So get out your notes, and you're going to write down what you think your screen time was yesterday. Write it down, title it Chapter 1. My screen time was 5 hours. Then you're going to go and check your screen time, and underneath that, you're going to write what your actual screen time was. I don't know if this is going to get anybody, but for me, I tried it and it was way more than I thought it was, and it's always surprising. So take it seriously. This stuff is actually happening. And the problem is that I'm at the end of my video notes. Bye.